Alright, let's see if we can get this hunter. Can we? No. It's turning too hard. Oh. What do we have here? Looks like a MiG-19. But is he AFK? He's just going straight. Time to think like a conscript.
This is going to stink!
Oh, yeah.
The devil with you! Hoorah!
Hoorah! That was funny. I have to ask, was he AFK? He didn't even try to evade that missile. Oh, man. It was simple, but effective. Good times. Howdy folks, Sauber here. Welcome back to the channel. It's official, my first 100% new video of 2020. My previous video on the L3 event was supposed to be released in December of 2019, but due to time limitations, I was not able to release it until January. But before we get started, I have a confession to make. What the... Are you serious? Why does it have to lag? Sorry about that. Okay, I'll get to that in just a second. My confession is this. Ever since I got the MiG-21 F-13, because of the bad rap I heard it received, I was just too scared to fly this in Jet RB. I don't know why. I guess because when I saw Fly's video on it, it just wasn't performing all that well. I mean, sure, it only has 130mm, it has no radar, and its engine is actually pretty decent. Takeoff thrust is 3350 kilograms of thrust, has 2 missiles, R3S, and some rockets, but no bombs. Whereas on the MiG-21 F-13, which I do have some flying experience on, extra fuel, of course, obviously. Radar. A GSH-23L cannon with 200 rounds. Double barrel, by the way. And then its engine, oh man. Max thrust is 3840, and takeoff thrust is 4,800 kilograms. Holy crap. That's just awesome. But yeah, without further ado, let's take this baby for a spin. Alright, so let me get the elephant out of the room real quick. That's right, you see someone that wants to be me. If you saw my video on the F4 Phantom live server, when I was chasing the Japanese T2 was chasing me, and then I was able to drop the bombs on him, for some reason, I guess due to a replay bug, it was showing my blue and red skin on that T2. And in this case, it's showing my Iraqi Air Force style desert camouflage for the MiG-19, which is funny because the last time I flew the MiG-19, I was using the silver modern camouflage like you see on my MiG-21 here. So I'm not sure why it displayed the Iraqi style desert camo for, sorry, I didn't get a good look at that guy's name, his MiG-19. I don't know why, but this is the other weird thing. When I played the replay again after recording this, it didn't show the skin. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the idea, at least in replays, being able to apply your custom skin to other players' vehicles? What do you think about that? I mean, I honestly think that would be kind of cool. Like, let's say you're in an epic dogfight with an enemy plane and you can give them, like, let's say, a Red Baron skin or Black Baron skin. If you've seen Flyboys, I don't remember. Keep in mind, I haven't seen that movie since 2014, so I can't remember what that pilot's official name was, where he had the black Fokker triplane. It was painted black with the white stripe at the tail and, of course, the Iron Cross. I don't remember his name, but that's what I have in mind when I said Black Baron. So, getting started on the MiG-21 SMT, this jet is totally my playstyle. I mean, who would have guessed that we would ever get jets in War Thunder where in just a few minutes you would effortlessly reach, not just past Mach 1, but just effortlessly, within a few minutes' time, climb to 30,000 feet. I've even gotten this thing up to 45,000 feet, but at that altitude, well, actually, it doesn't slow down that much, but you lose a bit of maneuverability. That's what I was looking for. Not speed, but maneuverability. Kind of gets a little laggy, if you know what I... Or, good grief, not laggy. Well, you get the idea. But, I mean, look at that. I'm going Mach 1, almost 700 miles an hour, and I'm at over 30,000 feet. You could only dream about that back when we had, like, it was just the F-86 and the CL-13 Sabres. But this is just awesome. So, yeah. And one thing tactic I've developed for myself is I'll get up to high altitude and kind of scan the battlefield. Like, see if there's anyone I could dive on, because I kind of treat this plane as a support plane, because, don't get me wrong, the R-60 missiles are great, but when you run out of them, and it's just the GSH-23L gun, you're going to have a hard time, because, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to the 23mm on the MiG-21, but I hardly hit anything with it. I mean, you have to get close and hope you don't overshoot. But I don't know, I just haven't really learned how to properly use it. Also, as you notice there, I looked over to my right and saw all those enemy fighters, some of which were much higher than me, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to engage them at that high altitude. Because the MiG-21 does fairly decently at low and medium altitudes, but at high altitudes, it's a bit out of my comfort zone, I'll just say that. So, yeah. And so I thought, well, I'll descend a bit and try to drag the enemies down. In fact, this one guy on my team was like, drag them down, drag them down. Try not to engage them at high altitude unless you absolutely have to. That sort of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll just drag them down to medium altitude and, well, see how it goes. So all in all, in regards to the MiG-21, it is a joy to fly. It's not the most maneuverable jet, but it's maneuverable enough for my playstyle. It kind of reminds me of, like, an F-86 Sabre with Mach 2 capabilities. So, yeah, this plane is certainly a joy to fly. And the battles I've been getting with the MiG-21 and the F-4 Phantom in my free time have actually been really nice. The jet meta, I don't know what it is. It's actually been pretty decent. Now, as you know, you don't get a win 100% of the time. In fact, the battle before this one, which didn't make the cut, I was in a dogfight with an F-4, and this MiG-21 cuts me off, so I was like, oh, okay, it was just an accident. But he tries to get his guns on target with the F-4, and he crashes into him. And if that wasn't enough, the F-4's tail came off and it flew back, and I couldn't pull out of the way in time, and what do you think happens? Yep, I crash into the wreckage of that F-4. So I was like, yeah, feels bad, man. But, I don't know what... Oh, yeah, to deviate a little, yeah, that's right, you saw that. A MiG... I mean, sure, he ended up crashing afterwards, but a MiG-15... That's right, a MiG-15 shot down an F-4 Phantom. So this guy that was flying a Hawker Hunter... I forget the exact designation, but it's the premium one. He was in a squad, and I guess he forgot that his plane in question was 9.7. That was a sweet missile right there. And his buddies were in an F-86A5, and a German MiG-15, and so they were both 8.7 battle ranking, going up against 10.3 jets. But hey, I don't think the F-86 got a kill, but at least the MiG-15 did. That was cool. And yes, as you see there, the R-60s are amazing. Can you imagine if we had the R-60M? Oh man. I remember when I first used R-60s on the Mi-24 helicopter, which got it long before any of the other jets did. I think the MiG-21 is the first jet in the game to get the R-60 missile. With that said, when I first got the R-60 on the Mi-24, I will admit, I was quite disappointed because I heard that it was so awesome it could lock onto every helicopter in the game at that time. And I thought, what am I doing wrong? And then it was then that I found out, oh, it's the R-60M, not the R-60. So I was like, forget this, I'm just gonna GE the R-60M. Oh, and to deviate a little, looking back at that missile shot, I probably would not have done it again. I was just really like, this is cool. I'm on a roll. I want to get that MiG-19S. But in doing so, I ran the risk of potentially locking on to one of my teammates. So, yeah, that was quite dangerous. And also, when this MiG-21 MF was engaging me with his missiles, I was like, what do I do? Because I was assuming, I don't know if he did, but I was assuming he had the R-60. So thinking fast, I dodged that first missile, which for some reason dove into the water, as you'll soon see here. My missile did the same. I'm not exactly sure why. I assume it was because, you know, our proximity to the sun. He was flying at the sun, and I don't know the science behind it, but I guess the water was getting hot. So the missile's like, hey, I want a drink. I'm going to dive into the water. That Patrick voice came out of nowhere. So I was like, darn it. My last missile, and it flew into the water. But then at the same time, I think his first missile flew into the water. And then when he launched the second, I was like, I'm not that fast to maneuver out of the way. So thinking fast, I shut off my engine, which I'll get into in a moment, and thankfully, I was able to dodge that missile. Which begs the question, would that be a valid tactic to use in real life? Because in War Thunder, you just click a button, and in my case, it's Control-I, and I have it set to Control-I because there were too many times in the past, and when I say in the past, I mean like back in 2014, 2015, where I would try to type in the chat and I would accidentally press I, shutting off the engine. With a prop, generally speaking, it's no problem. You can just press I again and your engine should come back on. But with the jet, if you are going too slow, you're not going to get that engine back on. Because I don't know the official terminology for it, but I think it's the windmill start. You have to be going a certain speed to get that the rotor blades to turn fast enough so it'll start the engine back up. And I'll never forget it. I was in my MiG-17, or excuse me, my MiG-15 doing that, and I was too low. This happened shortly after takeoff. I was trying to type in the chat. What do you think I did? Pressed I, and my engine shut off, and I ended up crashing it at the trees on Kuban. Yeah, it feels bad, man. So, ever since that time, I have set my engine control option, engine startup, engine shutdown button to Control-I to prevent any unpleasant surprises. So anyway, this begs the question, like I mentioned earlier, if you knew there was a missile locked on you, and you were flying a jet fighter that did not have any flares, would it be a good idea to shut off your engine? I mean, aside from the possibility of having trouble starting it up again, because I'm sure it's much more complicated than just pressing a keybind, or switch, rather. But plus, wouldn't that... Oh wait, I got ahead of myself. So the issue would be, like, would the engine cool down fast enough to where the missile would lose lock? Or would it just lock onto you anyway? Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Because the other issue that could be presented is, suppose, whether... you can't get your engine started back up right away, could the enemy fighter trailing you be able to get a speed advantage on you and either lock another missile on you or get a gun kill? Good question. It's very interesting to think about. But going back to the meta with the jets, I assume it's because of the constant mixed battles. I will admit, it wasn't all that long ago, like when I was flying the F-100 Super Sabre last year when it first came out, I wasn't a big fan of the mixed battles. But more recently, I think it's actually been beneficial to the matchmaker. The reason being is like, sure, the MiG-21s has its strengths and weaknesses. The F-4s have their strengths and weaknesses. The Hawker Hunters have their weaknesses and strengths, and so on and so forth. So when you combine them all into a mixed battle, does that give you, I believe it to a degree gives you like a 50-50 chance of getting a modest match. Obviously, as you know well, as I've mentioned many times before, even if you have the best meta, you don't win 100% of the time, but you get a decent game every now and again. And in this case, in this particular battle, this was my 4th battle of the day at the time when I recorded this, and it was my 4th victory. However, the battle the battle after this one, we won, but I got shot down. No biggie though, because I have to admit, this was an extraordinary feat by this guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but when I look up the video later that I had saved, I'll put annotation with his name on it. This guy was flying a MiG-19S, and this was, I had just taken off and was trying to assist him with this Hawker Hunter, and then an enemy MiG-21 MF got a missile lock on me, and I couldn't get out of the way in time or shut my engine down in time, and I got shot down. But this guy in the MiG-19S, he fended off 3 remaining fighters that were, what's the expression? Hawking over his airfield. It was crazy. Now, of course, the F-4, I don't know if he ran out of ammunition or if he was out of missiles or what, but he went to return to base. And when I watched the replay, OMG, he he ended up crashing on the runway, and needless to say, could not repair. Feels bad, man. So the MiG-19S was able to shoot down the Hawker Hunter, and then the MiG-21 MF that shot me down continued to dogfight with the MiG-19 for 3 minutes before giving up and returning to base to rearm, which gave the MiG-19S an opportunity to land and rearm. So a few minutes later, they're back at each other again. They decide to do a head-on, and this goes to show where, I guess because a lot of us are familiar with the 30 millimeters on the MiG-19, be it the S or the PT model, the MiG-19 fired a short burst of 30 millimeters before jerking to the left and leaving the MiG-21 not shot down, but critically damaged. But when he tried to make a turn to try to dogfight with the MiG-19, I'm not sure why, he ended up ripping his wings. I guess because he tried to do a negative turn. I didn't really get a good look at that because I was looking at the MiG-19 when this happened, but it was quite something that this MiG-19 on my team was able to fend off 2, but technically 3 enemy fighters and win the game. That was just an incredible gameplay. Something I enjoy most about War Thunder, where you think your team is going to lose, but somehow, when there's a will, there's a way, I guess. Your team manages to turn the tide and pull off the win. Just awesome. So yeah, all in all, MiG-21, excellent plane to fly, highly recommend it. I don't have any experience flying the MF because I don't even have the German MiG-19 unlocked. Lately, I've been just focusing on my American and Russian jet trees since I have the most progression on them. And I've thought about playing German, but long story short, the grind has been a bit slow for me. Like, I've been a bit tired of grinding and just prefer to fly or drive the vehicles I do have, because I guess after a while the grind just wears you down. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'll never grind those said vehicles, I'm just saying now's not the time. Especially considering, more recently, War Thunder is not the only game I play now. There are other games I play, which I can't say when just yet, because I haven't decided when or which games I'm going to cover, but I do plan on covering some other games besides War Thunder in the future. But it's too early to say which ones precisely. I'm still trying to figure that out, because a while back, well, actually it wasn't that long ago when I made my 200 subscribers video, I said that I do plan on covering some other games in the future, and I think that this year I should go ahead and do it. But like I said, it's too early to say which games or when. But not to worry, I do have them planned. So the last thing that I want to talk about is, again, in regards to jets, but a little bit different. So I kind of mentioned this in my 200 subscribers video, at least I think I did, but I'm really curious. For the year 2020, what jets, new jets, could we expect to receive this year? Okay, so I have two different types of guesses. One that's somewhat realistic, and the other one, well, let me rephrase that. One I think we'll get in the near future, and then the second we'll get possibly later in the year, probably middle of the year, maybe the end of the year, who knows. Starting with what we could receive in the near future, the MiG-21 BIS, possibly both for Russia and Germany. For the Americans, and maybe the British, I'm not too familiar with the British-made F4 Phantoms, but the F4E Phantom, maybe even the F4G Phantom. And then for the Japanese, also the Mitsubishi F4 Phantom. I forget its official designation. Probably the F4, what is it, the Weasel, I think? For the Germans, that sort of thing. Is there any others I'm missing? Oh, yeah. For the French, definitely, I would think, the Mirage. I'm not sure which variant. For the Italians, maybe the F-104 Starfighter. Not too sure. But, I don't know if we'll get this. It's probably too early because we don't even have rank 7 jets yet. But if we get rank 7 jets, I was thinking for a rank 6 premium, maybe a premium Israeli Mirage, or the one I was laughing to myself about, a premium Israeli F4 Phantom. But we would need rank 7 jets for that. So there is that. And then, I feel like I'm forgetting one. Oh yeah, more... I believe Chinese derivatives of the MiG-21, there's that. For the Swedes, I will be honest, I'm not entirely sure because I'm fairly new to the Swedish aviation tech tree. I've flown a few in my free time, but... What? Say hello. My cat, she's like... Not sure why, she wants attention. Anyhow, for the Swedes, I'm still not too all familiar with them, so... But oh, yeah, I forget what it's... The vegan, right? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but... I'll put its name, official name, as an annotation you will see here, because I cannot remember off the top of my head. But yeah, and then last but certainly not least, possibly rank 7, maybe rank 6. For the middle of the year, maybe the very end of the year, the F-15A Eagle. And maybe the first MiG-29, the MiG-29A. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm certainly excited to see what new jets we could get in the future. But anyway, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying the video so far. I have to admit, of the videos I've done so far, I think this is my new favorite simply because I had so much fun and enjoyed so much. I can't speak. I enjoyed making this video very much. So far, this is one of my top favorites. But anyway, that is it for today's video. Have a great day, stay safe, and peace out.